Not long ago, in a town much like yours, there was a young woman who was very happy. Until one day her heart broke so violently that her sorrow echoed through space and time. So our saga begins tonight, yet eons ago, just here, yet light years away.
Hey all, Flame here, and welcome to the FlameHisWorld commentary of Sayonara Wild Hearts. This is a very unique kind of game, both in terms of what I've shown off on the channel before, as well as in general, really. This is a unique blend of rhythm action gameplay, while also being a narrative driven art game. So if you like your journeys, if you like your abzus, games like that, but you want a little bit more music accompanying them, that's pretty much what we're going to be getting here. So if you followed the channel for a while, you know this game is right up my alley.
Long ago, a harmonious universe existed beyond ours, and 3 divine arcana watched over it. But one night, a cursed arcana intersected the astral highways, and along with her star-crossed allies, they stole all harmony and hid it in their vile hearts. Before the divine trio started to fade, they created a heroine from the shards of a broken heart, and hoped that she would one day be strong enough to save their world.
So this game was developed by Smogo and published by Annapurna Interactive in 2019, and it's one that I didn't actually pick up at first. It's one that sort of got lost in the shuffle for me. It's just something that happens with a lot of these games that are smaller in scale. They tend to get lost in the wealth of releases that you see popping up on Steam and on the Switch eShop and things like that. So I didn't get it at first, but about a year or so later I did pick it up. I think I might have got it on sale or something, I'm not entirely sure. And I fell in love with it. It is a very unique kind of game, as I mentioned, where you've got this rhythm action gameplay, which if you've played pretty much any other rhythm action game, you kind of see the same beats here. You know, you've got the music playing and the motion on screen is in sync with the beat of the music, and the music's fantastic. That's like the most important thing for a music game, I know, but this is only a very small sampler here, this very gentle opening piano piece. There's going to be a lot of pop music coming in later, like a lot of electronic music, there's some vocal themes. It is consistently fantastic. What it does with the narrative, as we see here, is it follows the Fool's journey from the Arcana of the Tarot. So if you want to go full Amy Rose and follow the story through your tarot cards, you can do that. I know the whole Tarot Arcana story's been done to death by everything, but there's a reason for that. It's a bloody good framing device, and it's a way to communicate, I guess, ambiguous feelings, because there's a story here of this character who's falling out of love. They're trying to rediscover themselves, really, and the Arcana are a good way to do that, because the Arcana represent different parts of the Fool through his life or her life. So we're starting off with the Devil in the first Heartbreak chapter, and the heartbreak chapters are pretty much the intervals of the game. So it's normally you're going from act to act, we get a new heartbreak level, which are these instrumental levels, and you get these really cool, crazy visuals. If there's one thing that I will say, your mileage may vary here, but sometimes it does get a little bit loud in the flashing lights in particular. I'm fortunate that I don't suffer from any health issues in relation to this kind of thing, but if it's even the slightest concern to you and you want to play this game, I would recommend sitting far away from your screen, maybe having it windowed rather than full screen, just to be on the safe side, because it is very, very bright in a lot of places. This area, Hate Hell Valley, I feel like that may be implying it's not the nicest place. I don't know, but we got the Wheel of Fortune here, which means we get to ride a badass bike. So while the gameplay style is quite similar in structure, it is rhythm action all the way through. You get to see all kinds of different pacing to the gameplay style. You get some fast levels, you get some slow levels. You get some levels where you get to ride the bike. We'll get loads more gimmicks that we can play with over the course of the game. And like I say, it's a very short game. The game as a whole is about an hour long, but they do enough here to make it feel varied. The structure of it, outside of the narrative, in terms of what's presented to us here, in a way it feels like an album with probably the world's coolest visualizer. Because you can just sit down and listen to this music as a continuous album. There's actually a version on YouTube that someone's put together with it all just running into it itself from one song to the next. And as a concept album, it works fantastically. And I feel like it's kind of hard to describe, but it's a very accessible kind of pop. Because for me, as someone who is a bit of a musical elitist, sometimes I hear electronic music and I don't hear the soul in that. But this is some of the most soulful pop music I have ever heard in my life. That is why I will say I hope the audio balancing here is good. I'm going to turn this music up a lot louder than I usually do. So hopefully you can hear both me and the soundtrack about as well as you can. This is one of the game's equivalent to boss fights, I guess, because they're not overly confrontational. It's like there's the other character, and you're basically interacting with the music competitively, if that makes sense. It's kind of a difficult thing to describe, so there will be a lot of situations where I do just let the game speak for itself. Especially during these vocal themes. This song, Begin Again, I feel like this is one of the earlier points in the game where it goes from being a rhythm game with a bit of theming to where it clicks into something very special. Because the gameplay is very simplistic. Where it's got the heart popping up there, that is just a button press. So it's not really like you know, your rock bands or your Guitar Heroes, where there's like a lot of different face buttons that you got to worry about. It is very much direction based and a single button based. Although that's not to say it's easy, particularly in the later stages. It gets incredibly hectic, for the best. And I do think the bike levels are among my favourites, because I like my gotta go fast gameplay, and you do move very quickly on the bike. And when you've got these chase sequences, you know, it is so cool. This is going to be another one of them playthroughs, like with the Abzu playthrough, like with the Journey playthrough, where I can't help myself from gushing whenever something cool shows up on screen. And it just so happens that like 95% of the game is something cool happening on screen. So if there's a takeaway you need from this very first part here, it's that you should play Sayonara Wild Hearts. I'm going to be going through and sharing my thoughts as we go along, but I've kind of summed up the, you know, my overall opinion. Oh, look at this! This is absolutely gorgeous, come on. You can't blame me for being incredibly excited by what I'm seeing here. I'll say if there's one thing that maybe doesn't entirely gel with me, it's the character design. I don't know, like, it's just something about the art style. It feels a little bit Western cartoon, which isn't really my thing. But the environments more than make up for it. So what happens if you get hit here is it'll just rewind the track a little bit and you'll get to try again. So the incentive to not get hit is that you get to keep listening to the song in one fluid take. But it's not overly punishing if you make a mistake. You're not going to run out of lives, you're not going to game over. You can keep trying as much as you like, which for this kind of game, I think that's the kind of thing you want. You want people to lose themselves in the music. If you kicked people out, it kind of hurt that. So I'm glad they do let you just keep on playing, and it makes that moment where you get past the difficult section that much more rewarding. But, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you next time for more Sayonara Wild Hearts.